Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another Christmas card lift with Daisy and Jen and friends. And today I'm doing a die cut sentiment card similar to these, but I went with a slimline card, which I believe the measurements are like 8.5 by 3.5. And I thought this paper that is actually for traveler's notebooks was like the perfect size, so I just had to trim it down just a little bit. And I am using these tall, thin alphas that I got from Close to My Heart, and they are called just called Slim Alphabet, I believe. And I really like them because they're super tall. They are like 3 inches tall. And then the little piece that says Mary actually came from a set from Do Crafts, and the set actually says Merry and Bright, I believe. And so I just am using the Merry off of that and making the word Christmas. But because I don't have 2 S's in that tall, thin alpha font there, I am going to have to cut the second S a second time. So what I'm doing is I'm just using some blue tape. I'm taping them together, and I'm going to use my adhesive powder, the powder that removes the adhesive. It doesn't remove it, it just covers it. It's the powder tool from EK Success. That's what that is. And it basically has baby powder in it, so it kind of removes the stickiness from the tape. I didn't really do a great job of removing the stickiness, and the paper that I'm using it's like a white core printed paper, and so it does rip the paper on this blue one, and I don't end up using that blue piece because of that, and you're going to see that here in just a second. So on my second round I did a much better job of getting rid of the adhesive, so it wasn't going to stick to the paper. And there you can see the rip at the very bottom of the paper there, and so it was kind of big. I couldn't really fill it in, and yeah, it doesn't get used. But I do use the letters from that. I use the blue letters, and I end up making 3 cards. And so the first card is going to be out of this green paper, which originally I thought was going to be the blue paper. But I'm going to do it out of this green paper, and it is going to have Merry Christmas in negative space. So I'm going to do it just like I did the blue one, but I'm going to use that on a white card, and the negative space where the letters are cut out of will just be the sentiment. Now for the other 2 cards, I will use the letters that were cut out of the paper as the front of my card. And I am cutting these on a Tonic Tangerine. It's a die cut machine, very much like a Big Shot, in case you don't know what it is. It's just a little bit more heavy duty, and by a little bit more heavy duty, I mean it's like 21 pounds. It's pretty hefty. So if you're not into that much weight lifting, I wouldn't recommend it for being a portable machine, but it does a wonderful job of cutting, but it's just not something you want to be lugging around to crops and such. So I do much prefer my Sidekick for little tiny jobs, but this does a really great job for larger things, and it has a much larger pass through than the Big Shot. So Tonic has some like 7-inch wide dies and such, and it works wonders with those. So I just took some white cardstock and I cut it so that would be the correct size for a slimline card, and I'm just trimming down that green piece because I didn't want it the exact size of the slimline card. I wanted a little border of white around it, and to me that looks a lot better than trying to match up the green paper with the front of the white card. And then I went to some mist, and that is some Mr. Huey's in the color Shine. It's basically silver, and I am just splattering that on and giving the background just a little bit of sparkle so you see it through the letters. I'm just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere everything down. I think that's going to do the best job, given all of those little pieces like the points of the M and the centerpieces of the H and such, it's much easier to use a liquid glue than maybe your ATG or whatever kind of adhesive tape gun you would normally use. So liquid glue is your friend for this for sure. It also allows you to get those little tiny pieces in, like the little center of the letter E in Mary. So that's what I'm adding right now. And then I realized that I could not find the center of my A, so I had the blue center of the A that I cut originally, and I just hand cut off of that green piece the center of the A rather than running the die through again. It's just a small triangle, and I just use the other one as a template, and it works out just fine. So there's no problem with that. And I like how that looks. It's rather simple, but that's okay. Sometimes simple is good. And it's, you know, it's got a big impact with the big letters. So I think that's kind of fun. So then I grabbed 2 more pieces of white paper, and I am sprinkling those again with that same Mr. Huey's in Shine. And then I'm adding also some Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine to just kind of make things a little more sparkly and have a little bit more pizzazz, because these ones are not going to have that green background. I'm just using the letters rather than throwing them away. I'm just going to use the letters and create my title, or it's not a title, my sentiment. And so I'm centering up with the S because the S is the middle letter in Christmas, not thinking about the fact that I want the word Mary in front of it, which becomes a little bit of a problem for me because then it's not centered. But I'm going to fix that towards the end here, so you're going to see that happen. When I start laying down stuff for my next card, I do use the I as the center, and it works out a little bit better. Even though the letter I is not the center of the word, but it gives me room to have the word Mary in front of Christmas without it looking off-centered too much. So I'm just playing around with which direction I want the word Mary to lay, and I decided to go with a vertical orientation, and I think that looks pretty good. It's kind of cute, and it's pretty simple. I don't quite know what to do with it beyond that, so while I am thinking about that, I'm going to go and work on the blue letters. And I did have to create another S because I didn't go back and do the second S when I saw that the paper had ripped, and so I just took a little remnant of that piece of paper, and I am using that to create that other S. And I think it looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue it down. Now I'm also leaving room at the top because I thought I would maybe use the word Mary kind of off, or not off, but towards the top and to the right or left. And so then I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room up above for the word Mary, and I don't end up putting it up at the top. So I'll have to work on kind of playing around with the placement in that card, or how I'm going to have the front of that card look, so it doesn't look like Christmas is just way at the bottom and there's a big white area at the top. And then this one I decided to go with kind of like a diagonal there, and I think that looks cute. And then I decided that in order to kind of fix that mistake of bringing all of the letters down really far, I trimmed a little bit off the top, and I'm going to back it all with the blue paper. And I do know that there's a big gap out of that blue paper, but I have that blue strip that is sitting on the desk there, and I'm going to use that to kind of just span the difference. And once it's all said and done, you cannot tell. So it looks fine. It's not a problem when it's on the card front. I'm just trimming it up to match, and I think that looks pretty good. It still is towards the bottom of the card, but that's okay. It's not as bad as it was. And then this other card front, I trimmed it down a little bit, and then I'm adding these green strips, and I'm liking the way that those look. But I'm not really sure because I don't have a ton of green left other than going and cutting a whole new piece. So I'm going to cut the sides off, and I'm going to trim them down quite a bit, And I'm going to add a little bit of foliage peeking out. And I'm going to use that Tim Holtz punch that is to the right on my desk. And it's actually one of my most used punches, especially when it comes to like Christmas stuff or December dailies or my mini albums for holidays, because it's just a little cute sprig of like pine needles. So you can see there I cut down the edges considerably, and I am going to go and find some green paper in my scrap bin. And it doesn't have to be the perfect green. It doesn't have to have the perfect pattern, because once you cut those sprigs, you're not going to really see the pattern anyway. So I end up using that bottom paper rather than the green cardstock, and I really like the way that it looks. The green is a close match. It's not exactly, but it's a pretty close match to the green that is on the card. And so I'm just going to punch those out, and I'm going to tuck them in on each edge. And while I do that, I'll remind you that there are a few people playing along down below in my description box, so go and check them out and see what they've got for you today. I can't wait to see the cards that they've made as well. This is actually the last day of this series. It's just every Friday in November, so if you happen to have missed anything, you can go back and, did I say September? Oh my goodness. Every Friday in November. If you missed anything, you can go back and find those on my channel. I do have a playlist for them. It's the Christmas card series, or Christmas card lift series, and so you should be able to find those that way. But don't forget to go and check out Jen and Daisy and all of the other people that are playing along. The links are down below in my description box. And again, if you have questions and comments, just like on any other video, feel free to leave them down below. I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day today, and I hope that this kind of gets you into the Christmas spirit. And now that Thanksgiving is over in the U.S., people will start turning their attention towards Christmas, so I hope that this is a good kickoff for that. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.